But ultimately, I see the AMM as a trading engine. It executes a trading strategy on behalf of those people who sort of provide the liquidity. So as most of you probably know, an AMM has a pile of two assets, and it makes markets between those two assets. But it's also implementing a trading strategy. The trading strategy profits from volatility, that is, changes in the price of an asset. So if you think about assets that have very volatile prices, cryptocurrencies probably have the most volatile prices of any asset class like in human history, except maybe tulips in the 1400s. You can actually harvest that volatility to generate a yield. So if you were an apple buyer and seller and the prices of apples were different around the world, you could go around the world buying and selling apples and make a profit. And what you would have is you'd have a pile of apples and a pile of currency, whatever currency you like, euros or dollars, and you would buy apples and your pile of apples would go up and your pile of currency would go down. And you would do that when the price was low. And then you would sell apples, right, when the price of apples was comparatively higher. And if you do that, eventually your pile of money will get bigger. And that is essentially what the AMM tries to do. It implements a trading strategy to harvest volatility on behalf of the liquidity providers who loan it assets. I'm much more personally excited about that than I am about the fact that it provides liquidity, but it does also provide liquidity. It does also make markets.
But this is the value proposition for XRP, according to David Schwartz.
The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools.
Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. The XRP community must rise up, remove the blinders, and embrace the potential of what's happening in front of us. We need to shed our tinfoil hats and speculative ways and seize the opportunity that awaits. The storage demand for XRP in the AMM pools will drive up the total value locked, TVL, earning you yield and providing utility as liquidity and collateral. XRP is not just about remittance payments or bridging currencies for FX transactions. It is the foundation for a plethora of services and applications driven by a global community and a decentralized network to unleash the next wave of innovation. This movement is not just about banks, institutions, or Ripple alone. It's about participation and collaboration. Community, I say, it's time to rise, embrace the reality of this new world. Imagine a world where XRP powers a robust and thriving ecosystem with DeFi pillars of lending, borrowing, insurance, yield aggregators, liquidity aggregators, and the almighty derivatives market at its core. This is not just a dream, but a reality unfolding before our very eyes. The value proposition of XRP lies in its demand for utility in the automated market maker pools and as collateral. It's more than just an asset, it's a revolutionary money infrastructure. XRP is the backbone of a censorship-resistant, decentralized, open, permissionless, and distributed network that empowers users and developers alike. The XRP community must rise up, embrace the reality of this new world, and be a part of the change. Together, we can reshape the financial markets, empower the masses, and create a brighter future. The ultimate goal here is to build a value exchange for the Internet of Value. The two-way interoperable AMM and limit order book based DEXs, XRPLs, AMM based, and existing limit order book based DEXs are two-way interoperable. The interleaved execution of the AMM trades with the existing order book DEX on the ledger. The key to this integration is transparent injection of the AMM offer into the liquidity stream, which is fed into the payment execution engine. This ensures aggregated liquidity across different DEXs and better exchange rate for the traders. This trio of technologies is going to work in harmonization. It's like a symphony because they're purpose-built to work together at the protocol layer. Now, what this will do, it will increase profits for liquidity providers who will be shareholders of that AMM pool. So since the pool earns more than just fees, it earns from harvesting the volatility. So it earns that spread continuously using the order book and the payment execution engine. It's literally taking the capital that's in the pool and putting offers on the limit order book and earning a spread. Then there's the auction mechanism. So the continuous auction mechanism, arbitrageurs will continuously bid every 24 hours, or they'll outbid each other in times of high volatility and pay with the LP tokens, which are the two assets in the pool. Those assets will then get redistributed to everyone else in the pool. Now, the harvesting of the volatility for yield actually adds value to the pool from outside the pool. That's super powerful. So the fees do that as well. The fees will continuously build up. All of this revenue doesn't go to your account, it goes to the pool. And it accrues in your liquidity share. So your share of the liquidity pool. That's why I'm saying primary market. Secondary market is where trading happens on other exchanges and different venues. Primary market XRP implies there's an issuance of some sort. And there is an issuance here. You're getting issued a share by the AMM pool itself of liquidity tokens, which is your proportional share. Now, as more people provide liquidity, it will issue more liquidity tokens, but you'll always have a percentage of that pool, and they have to add value with it. So it's always even. And as more volume runs through it, and as more time goes by, you'll build up more value. So impermanent loss is almost a non-factor in this over time. Now, if you were in there for a short duration, that's different, but it's a money-making investment vehicle. It turns XRP into a full-blown investment with cash flow and a purpose-built investment vehicle. That is what it is. Now, this is its intrinsic value. Now, it's not just an investment. That's how you look at it, as from the viewpoint of the liquidity provider or the XRP holder, who's right now doing nothing to help the network by holding their XRP on exchanges or cold storage. It's doing nothing to facilitate adoption, ecosystem growth. Now, there's nothing you can do. But what this does is you're able to invest in the network, literally itself, because it is a value exchange. And the more volume runs through it, it drives this revenue. But it's providing liquidity. So it's providing a service for users who are traders that anyone could access. And ODL and Liquidity Hub. So a lot of people are like, oh, Ripple's pulling away from XRP. They're going to use stable coins and all this. Like, once you see the big picture here, that makes absolutely zero sense. Because XRP is it's XRP ledger. That's the foundation. There's over focus on just the asset. The asset has no utility. It's the protocols in the network that have the utility and where the intrinsic value is. And we're seeing more and more fundamental valuation reports come out that show the intrinsic value lies in the economic use cases at the network layer. So most networks have staking, almost all of them, or they have mining. XRP, Flare, Stellar are three, just to name off the top of my head. There are probably others, but those three have other things going on besides just staking. With Flare, it's a data provisioning network and it has a collateral system built into it. That's a very young network just starting out. XRP ledger is 10 years old. So now it's getting its enhancements. It already has a user base, a large user base, the network needs to harness that community. That's why Arthur Brito said you're mission critical. Because instead of just thinking of, oh, this is made for institutions, it's only going to be institutions who can drive the price. No, that is not the way to look at it. And I'll be honest with you, if Bank of America made an announcement tomorrow and said, we're going to use XRP, that does nothing to XRP's price. Nothing. Maybe there'll be a quick little pump from an announcement, but even them just using it does nothing to the price. So what are you waiting for? That's the thing, is like everyone's told a story or a fairy tale, but the reality is it's this ecosystem that's being built. Now, this is just one it's the main one because it's put in the network. Now, in the future, we could see other things like potentially borrow and lending put into the native protocol of the network, collateralized stablecoin, backed by XRP, put into the network. Those obviously have to be amendments. Those are just examples. And not everything should be put into the mainnet. Hooks and smart contracts to do certain things. It all depends on what the community decides. And what did I say there? The community decides. And using XRP, like facilitating payments through ODL, it's transactional flow in and out. It has no impact on demand. And there needs to be continuous steady state storage demand for the asset. And that's going to come from initially the community and providing XRP. But with now the sanctions compliance and KYC AML and digital identity, you'll have institutions, enterprises, any application can tap into this to provide liquidity into these pools and get those LP shares. Because then those LP shares are a super premium collateral, and that gives XRP even more value then, because it's now a hybrid stablecoin paired with fiat. That means it's got less volatility. Therefore, it makes better collateral even. And it's yield bearing, so it's going to continuously gain value. And that could be used in all types of ways. It could even go in its own liquidity pool with XRP, which is fascinating, and we'll have to see what is going on there and plans with that. But it goes to show, this is why I've been focusing on this continuously, because it is the single most important thing. It's bigger than any of ODL ramping up in volume, Bank of America using XRP, Liquidity Hub. Like, those are all secondary things that will drive volume onto the ledger, but it's the on-ledger activity that has the direct impact on demand. Because as people lock up XRP in these pools, that XRP has to come from somewhere. That's the demand. That's the liquidity flywheel.
So the pool charges for arbitrage rights, and it does it using its own liquidity tokens as the currency by which you buy these arbitrage slots, and it destroys them when they're paid to the pool. So arbitrageurs who want those arbitrage slots have to acquire liquidity tokens either by putting money into the pool or buying them from other people, and then they're destroyed. And if there are fewer liquidity tokens outstanding, the value of each one goes up because it's a claim against the assets of the pool. Now, another thing that happens is volatility. So external prices change, right? The price of XRP changes, the price of Bitcoin changes. That means the value of the assets the pool holds changes. And that drives up both arbitrager activity. There's only an opportunity to arbitrage if the price is out of whack. One source of the price being out of whack would be changes in the price. But also natural ledger activity, people making payments and offers. All of these things trade against the AMM instance, and the AMM makes a spread. But there's something else going on that's almost more exciting, which is volatility is harvested by the automated market maker. Normally, volatility just results in risk and a reduction in yield. But here, it's a gain in yield. The automated market maker actually implements a trading strategy that converts volatility into yield.
SBI, DBS Bank, and Monetary Authority of Singapore have been testing institutional DeFi. Now, why are they testing that? Why is David Schwartz been saying Ripple's talked a lot about institutional DeFi? Because once you have this built at the foundation, and you could have XRP holders depositing XRP, not everyone will, and it's not financial advice to or not to. There'll be many different strategies. It's not a very simple like, oh, I stake and I get 7% yield, or I don't stake. It's not like that. There'll be a variety of pools. There'll probably be a core grouping of them, the ones that you'll more likely want to put more into than others because of the steady volume that runs through them and the amount of volatility it could harvest. There'll be other use cases that will run through these. So ODL Liquidity Hub are built by Ripple. That's the key advantage. Uniswap doesn't have those two other revenue sources. It has front running, it has gas fees, it has MEV, it has all these other problems. Slower settlement, and it has the impermanent loss aspect. And then they try to do this concentrated liquidity thing, which is very complicated, and it's still dominating. Like, it's still the DEX that's pulling in more and more volume every month. Now, instead of it being a dApp, putting this at the network layer. So other applications, anything, financial application, non-financial application, can tap into the pools to provide liquidity as an investment. Now, trading-wise, it's attached to the limit order book and the payment execution engine. So from a trading perspective, or say a swapping perspective, like say I want to send a payment from XRP and I want it to be received in, say, tokenized gold. It could be received in tokenized gold. It just automatically does that on the ledger. That's its superpower. As long as the beneficiary has a trust line to that tokenized gold issuer, then we will see it will just cross currency. It will just automatically pathfind and swap between them. And most likely it will use different hops. It will always find the cheapest route with the deepest liquidity. It could split the payments. So there's never a need for a high price because of large payments, because they'll always be split up at all times. And then the recent discovery of Prisma, which is Ripple's proprietary software, which is cloud-hosted 60 microservices using Kubernetes and serverless hosts to intelligently route payments of ODL, manage wallets. It could interact with exchanges and actually execute trades on exchanges on bid and asks and offers. So it's going to corral all the payments to get routed through the ledger, and it's going to pull all liquidity off the exchanges because they're not the focus, these centralized exchanges. They're not going to be, they're built on legacy tech. The XRP ledger is the ultimate exchange. It was built to be that. It wasn't able to be fully at its full capabilities due to after the FinCEN fine, you have the KYC AML issue, and that still has to be solved to some extent. But this providing liquidity in XRP is a kind of a way around it, where you could provide liquidity to any pool without having to have a trust line to that issuer. And that's very important that anyone can do that, because you're really, like David Schwartz says here, you're not really lending your assets to the pool. You're actually exchanging them for a share of liquidity pool tokens. And now you have an ownership in that pool. So you're not guaranteed to get back what you put in. It's going to have there's like multiple variables that are going to impact the amount of assets, the value of those assets, 3 different ways to earn, the amount of people that are in the pool, the amount of volume that's run through it, the amount of fees that are accrued, the price of XRP, the price of the other asset, which if it's fiat, it's going to be stable. but it could be Bitcoin XRP. Now you have two volatile assets. So there's very different types of strategies here, but you have an ownership share, and it's literally an investment vehicle. And other AMMs can't do this. And why is that? It's because the blockchain doesn't guarantee the redemption of the shares. So the same way an ETF represents underlying shares. Now, this isn't the perfect comparison, but it's relative to understand that it's guaranteed to always be redeemable because the ledger itself and the consensus and the protocol guarantee it. Not a smart contract, not a DApp, not a developer, not some central intermediary. And the one key thing to remember about this investment vehicle, I'm going to call it, or money maker machine, is that there's no operator. So there's no entity that needs to extract rent, costs, or value for anything. And unlike some protocols and different dApps that take percentages out of the revenue generated to pay for their developers, to pay for infrastructure, to pay for operations, to pay to expand the ecosystem, or to even just put in their own treasury. This doesn't have that. It all comes back. And that's key because that makes it very efficient. And it's just continuous over time. It doesn't matter price going up or down. But if the price goes down, you have less exposure to losing money. And that will attract institutions. So you have this enterprises, institutions, and retail can all play in the same pool. Because what did Dilip Rao say? There'll be big fish and there'll be small fish, and they'll all be in the same pool or same ocean. These pools are like the ocean. And that's why you have to look at this. You know, a lot of people didn't want to call crypto assets investments because it's like, oh, it's the utility. It's still providing the utility. And by providing that utility, it grows the adoption of the network now. Now the network is able to grow because it could facilitate more volume through it. Slippage is lower, the more liquidity that's in the pool. So now more apps develop. And then around this, you'll have more storage demand for XRP, and that will drive the price. And that will decouple it from things like Bitcoin, which doesn't have any native economic model. And now, we haven't even talked about the fact that David Schwartz said it will be bolstered by rewards programs. Since the escrow has been used up until this date to build out the infrastructure for RippleNet, to pay for the hosting costs of all the RippleNet hosts, to pay for the whole RippleNet ODL system to be built out, so it can facilitate this volume that comes back to the network. So now I hope people are seeing it's not just a profit Ripple, it's to build that so it could run this volume through its native ledger. And Prisma routes that. So that's just transactional volume. That doesn't raise the price. That's why I'm saying banks using XRP, so what? And we got to stop thinking like that. Liquidity Hub is designed for enterprises to allow their customers to use XRP. Stop thinking of it like banks using. Banks using does not equate to price going up. I'm going to say that one more time. And David Schwartz says there's a lot of press releases that mean nothing. If you're looking for just a press release spike pump, well, then you're here for the short term and you don't really matter. This is a longer term investment, but now it could actually be an investment because the network is providing the investment strategy. It's executing a trading strategy, like David Schwartz said, on behalf of the user's assets. But they're not your assets anymore. You have a share of the pool, and then you can get them back, that share, whenever you want, though. There's no limits, there's no anything. But you could go use that LP token, and if you really wanted to cut any impermanent loss, you could borrow against it enough XRP to match what you had. If you really felt like you had to match exactly what you had, that's just not financial advice, but it's available for everyone to do anything. So you're not at a disadvantage. These are the ultimate investment vehicle. The more I've researched this, the more I'm like blown away, because it is a primary market. That's what it is, because it's issuing shares. And when I looked up primary market, that's what primary market facilitates, the issuing of new shares. And same goes for funds and other things. Now, this pool, you could also, is analogous to a staking pool in a way. But staking pools have operators, and there's somebody who takes commission and things like that. There's no commission. So it's even better. And it's not just securing the network. Now, staking has its place, and it's there to help secure networks. XRP was able to have 10 years time to decentralize, build a trust network. You can't do that just out of the gate. So that's why connecting all these side chains together, they're going to have to come up with ways to have consensus that kind of either bootstraps off the trust of the XRP mainnet ledger, or we'll see. I don't want to get into that speculation, but this is just one use case. This is the first real demand utility-based use case. So if everyone says utility-based, the utility is in the protocol. Arthur Brito said that. He said the utility of the protocol, not the digital asset. Like, that's the mistake. It's like there's so much focus just digital asset, because you see this ticker, you see a price. There's market price, and then there's fundamental value price. This will also provide a floor price for XRP in a way, because there's a certain amount of liquidity that always needs to be provided, because it's providing a service. It's providing an organic service. Those cross-border payments need to be made, and this facilitates it in a way that's cheaper, faster, and has guaranteed on-demand liquidity at all times. That is the magical put together. That's what the vision here is. Now, around that, you build institutional DeFi, because what does every financial market ecosystem need? Liquidity. It's the lifeblood. Now you build borrowing and lending and borrowing. That's really what's going to be like the real push driver of value as time progresses. This is going to come in phases. There is absolutely no flip the switch moment that is completely looking in the wrong direction at this. Is there some outside chance that could happen? Yes. Is it likely? No, it's extremely unlikely. There's nothing pointing to that. This is the new financial system. You have the power to own your own data, your own identity, and participate. But it's not just about capital appreciation. It's now you have the potential to earn the whole way up, and these pools can have other revenue that they could generate in the future. This is just the first iteration. Apps could come along, or dApps and DAOs, and tap into them and distribute to the users that are staked in that pool for whatever reason. And the escrow, those incentives can be slide over to incentivize, like Bob Way said. In the last video, if you didn't see it, the Mission Critical with Arthur Brito, I played Bob Way in an interview with Bearable Bull. He was talking about his patent, but at the very end, he compares the distribution of rewards the same way that Bitcoin miners earn rewards and Ethereum stakers earn rewards. I hope everyone took note. This whole like allocating out to central banks and everything, that doesn't make sense, because it once again ignores the technology and the networks of what they are, and just is a theory based on overlooking all that. But it sounds good, but it makes no sense. You don't give away the asset to outside the network. It's to incentivize the use and adoption of the network, because all the intrinsic value is in the protocol. And all these CBDC private chains that they're developing, those are going to all connect eventually to the mainnet. But if XRP is used on those side chains and pools, that will contribute to its value. Because you know why? It's demand. The XRP has to be locked on the main chain, then issued on those private chains. And now when it comes to tokenization, this right here is going to be the ultimate tokenization exchange, because you have an order book, the payment execution engine, and you have the liquidity pools. So a lot of these are going to be just trying out and do it with liquidity pools. They're going to be like, oh, this doesn't really work because we're used to the order books. And XRP ledgers going to be like, well, we don't just have both. We have them interleaved with each other and a cross-currency payment execution engine, meaning that you want to buy that government bond from Japan. Okay, you could pay in whatever asset you want, and it will automatically route it. So you could pay with, say, tokenized gold. It will route it through probably XRP because it will be the most liquid, and that's where its utility comes in. But that transaction doesn't drive XRP's value up. That's its utility. Some of its utility is as liquidity. It's the people providing liquidity and the demand for being locked that drives its price. So the more volume, the more people need to provide liquidity. So I hope that makes sense. And I have to keep repeating that over and over because it's something new and different. But this is a new and different asset class. So let's look at it like a new asset class and not pretend it's like a stock or a commodity. It's not. Now it's getting cash flow. Now you'll start to see, as institutions see this, this is so powerful. It's the most important thing. And eventually everyone will grasp onto it, but I'm trying to get everyone prepared for what's coming. 5 years researching this. This is at the heart of it. And this is how its value goes. And its intrinsic value is the network itself, and it's the protocol. That's why it makes zero sense when somebody says, oh, we're going to back XRP by something. That's naive and intellectual laziness, because they don't understand that the protocol is where the intrinsic value is. By trying to think or do something like that, you're totally removing what gives it value in the first place, that it's counterpartyless. It makes zero sense to back anything with anything. It was just that conversations are harmful to the community. I'm going to keep saying it. And this is where we need to start thinking. So I really encourage everyone to spread. If you understand this and the light bulbs start going off and you get it, please share it around and build on it. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe there's something more to this. More that you see a different angle that this could also happen. Because it keeps coming up with me where I'm like, and I look through David Schwartz's Twitter. Just search AMM on his Twitter page. That's the best resource. So when you speculate, you come up with theories, you first do the research, look into the stuff, then you speculate. You just don't see something and go, oh, I'm going to speculate now with one thing. No, you gather a foundation of knowledge, a knowledge base, and then speculate. There's a lot of influencers who aren't really educated, and they're like learning as they go. And unfortunately, some have been influenced by the wrong people. And they don't know any better. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I do not think there's anyone malicious, besides the people that are monetizing excessively on Twitter. But that is what it is. With the booms, booms are strategically placed only for certain situations. Like when David Schwartz says, we're integrating ODL into the XRP ledgers, DEX, and AMMs. That's a boom moment. Like, that's something I've been dreaming of for years coming. And many people doubted him, like, oh, they're never going to integrate into the DEX. That's not going to happen. So I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.
So I was always of the mind that this system was going to be ripe for some kind of a disruption. And when I saw DeFi, I started to see where that disruption was going to come from. And I started to understand that this is going to be where it goes. And what I've tried to tell people is what you need to understand about this new DeFi system is it will start in the third world and it will grow from there into the second world, third world, and then it will come here and completely flatten you. United States, I don't see us in any way being the leader in this.
Oh,
I think we are going to, it's going to be rammed down our throat is what it's going to be. And it just occurred to me that this is a brand new financial system and that this is going to replace the current CeFi financial system.